Dear students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. Myself, Dr. A. Vijay Chitra, Assistant Professor, Department of Microbiology, Sri Narayanagur College, Coimbatore. Today, we are going to see the module on intellectual property rights. We are going to see what is an intellectual property right, what are the ways by which the intellectual property can be protected, and what are the laws behind it. So first, talking about the intellectual property rights, we have to know what is an invention. An invention is a new product or process which would solve a technical problem, whereas a discovery is something that already existed but had not been found. If you say in every invention, a human mind is behind it. Let us take the examples of inventions such as telephone, radio, microscope, computer, bicycle, car. All these inventions have given the human a new way of life. So inventions of new products or process, it brings dramatic change in the lifestyle, and also it helps the human race in all possible ways for their survival. So what is the need for invention? So we all know that necessity is the mother of invention. So inventions mostly arise when there is a need. In order to invent, inventors should first identify a need or problem and then a creative way to solve it. The inventor, using his creativity or idea, valuable time and funds, he comes out with a solution. So how to protect his invention and his idea? That is the basic behind the concept of intellectual property rights. So intellectual property covers not only plants, not only products, but also process. So we have seen intellectual property rights, which includes patents, trademarks, copyrights, Plant Protection Act, industrial designs, as well as geographical indications. In terms of the statutory rights, we can define intellectual property as intellectual property or statutory rights. Once granted, it allows the creator or creators or owners of the intellectual property to exclude others from exploiting the same commercially for a given period of time. It allows the creators or owners to have the benefits from their work when these are exploited commercially. Now we have to know what is an invention and innovation. Invention and innovation are basically a different thing. An invention means a new product or process involving an inventive step and capable of industrial application. An innovation means the successful exploitation of new ideas in the form of a useful machinery or process by any person using own intellect is called as innovation. Every innovation may not be a patentable invention, but every invention is an innovation. So the IPR have to be governed in accordance with certain provisions. So the World Intellectual Property Organization have brought out some laws regarding the governance. So those include the Patent Act, the Design Act, the Copyright Act, the Trademarks Act, the Geographical Indication Act, Protection of Layout Design for Integrated Circuit, and Plant Varieties Protection and Farmers' Right Act. So coming to the types of intellectual property rights. Intellectual property is divided into two categories. One is industrial property and another one is the literary and artistic works. Under industrial property, normally the idea, that is a concept for commercial purpose. Industrial property normally covers the idea and the concept for commercial purpose. It includes patents for inventions, trademarks, industrial designs, geographical indications, trade secrets, layout designs. And under literary and artistic works, it mostly covers the literary works. That is, it includes books, paintings, movies, performance and artistic work. To protect this intellectual property, in India there are some laws. So under the functional and technical innovations, we have the law, or we have the act called as the Patent Act 1970. The Patent Act was brought into force in 1970 and it is amended in the years 1999, 2002 and 2005. And for the symbols, logo, words, sounds, color, design, in industrial side, we have an act called as the Trademark Act 1999. This act was amended in 1994, 1996 and 2000. And coming to about the artistic works, we have the right called as the Copyright Act 1957. And this act, it is amended in the years 1984, 1992, 1994 and 1999. Now we'll see what is a patent. So any intellectual property have to be patent, okay, which means that any idea, any innovation, it has to be patented in order that the particular person who invents it will be credited. So to know what is a patent is an exclusive right granted for an invention. That may be a product or that may be a process by the government under the provision of patent laws. Or we can also say that patent is a legal document which provides the patent holder the full rights to commercialize the product or process. So what is the use of this patent? So patents, it stop others from manufacturing, selling or commercializing. That becomes the main aim of patent. In India, we have an office, that is Indian Patent Office. So the Indian Patent Office organizational structure, it includes first the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. So the Indian Patent Office, it comes under the Ministry of Commerce and Industry under the Department of Industrial Policy and Promotion. Under this functions the Office of the Controller General of Patents, Designs and Trademarks. And under the Office of the Control, we have the Patent Office. The Patent Office is in Kolkata, that is including for design. The Patent Office is in Delhi, Bombay as well as in Chennai. And for Trademark Registry, we have offices in Kolkata, Delhi, Bombay, Chennai and Ahmedabad. And for the Geographical Indication Registry, we have the office at Chennai. And for the National Institute of Intellectual Property Management and Patent Information System, the office is at Nagpur. So all these offices, they take care of the patents, the geographical indications, the trademarks, the designs, the layouts, everything. So now let us see what is the importance of patents. So patents, they provide incentives to individuals. It means that the individual person who comes with the invention will be benefited with a monetary benefit. And the patents, they provide recognition for their creativity. The patents, it encourage individuals for more innovations, and patents also give protection for invention. It means that the patents, they give protection in all possible ways, and patents, they stimulate research which enhances the quality of the human life. Now we'll see who can file a patent. So a patent, it can be filed by an inventor, mostly by the inventor or inventors or his assignee or the legal representative of any deceased inventor, alone or jointly with others. Okay, so where to file the application in India? See, we have many Indian patent offices, and one of the office we can go for the filing of the application. That is the Indian Patent Office located at Chennai, Delhi, Bombay or Kolkata. Now let us see the invention and innovation. So an invention means a new product or process. So it involves inventive step, and as well it has the capability of an industrial application. So an invention should have a novelty, an inventiveness, usefulness. Coming to the types of patent, we have to see what are the types of patents available. So patents, it can be given for two things. One is product and another one is process. So what is a product patent? So product patent, it mainly applies to machines, instruments, apparatus and mechanical items, which means that a new invention can be a machine or an instrument, so that comes under the product patents. So even it can be a very small nail, the structure or the shape of the nail can be changed, so that can be patented. A block can be there, the block if it is modified, that can be patented. A camera if it is modified in some way, or when you insert a special design for it, that can be patented. So these things, they come under the. Next we have the process patent. Process patent means that the process or method of manufacture can be patented, which means that it is mostly related to food, chemical or drug. In a food processing industry, a food item can be prepared in a particular process. So that process, it can be patented. And in a drug industry, a particular drug or a particular antibiotic may be produced by some process, and that process can be patented. So in this way, the product can be patented and the process can be patented. Next, coming to the patent specification. So once we go for we get the idea of patenting, so we have to go and file the application in the patent office. So in the patent office, we have to provide all the details, or we have to disclose all the details regarding our patent. For that, we have a specific term or thing called as patent specification. So what this patent specification is, that it is a one which discloses the details of the invention for which the patent protection is sought. We have two types of specification. One is a provisional specification, another one is a complete specification. What is provisional specification? It is a document which contains the description of the nature of invention. It means that the document will contain all the details regarding the description of the invention, and it do not contain the details of invention and claims. Claims means that a particular patent can be claimed for this particular part and other things. So a provisional specification is given before a complete specification is given. So provisional specification applications is filed to claim priority date of invention, and complete specification is to be filed within 12 months of provisional specification. So I'll explain you the need of this provisional specification with an example. We all know Alexander Graham Bell. So he is the inventor of telephone. He filed his patent application on February 14, and there is another person called as Eliza who also claimed a patent for telephone, but Graham Bell, he went for patenting of the application before few hours of Eliza. So he has become the inventor of telephone. So in this way, the date at which the particular invention is claimed, it becomes a very, very important thing. So a provisional specification is very, very important, and so the complete specification can be filed after 12 months. Now we will see what is the complete specification. So the complete specification, it contains details regarding the description of the invention, whereas in provisional specification we do not require to fill the description of the invention, whereas in complete specification we have to give out the description of the invention, and also we have to give out the background of the invention including the prior art, and we have to give out drawings if there is any, and also we have to give the claims of the invention. The claims of the invention is what are you claiming for, so which part of it you are claiming for or which process you are claiming for, so that has to be specified. And what is the duration of a patent? So normally the duration of a patent will be for 20 years, and the date of patent is calculated from the date of filing of the application for patent. It means that the time at which you apply for the patent, so from that particular date the patent date will be calculated. The patentee has to pay annual fee every year for renewal and maintenance of the patent, which means that once if you have obtained a patent, each year you have to renew it with the help of an annual fee. So only when you pay the annual fee your patent will be renewed, or else it will not be renewed. So this is about the patent and its importance. Next, coming to the trademark. So what is a trademark? So a trademark is a design, sign or expression that is associated with the product. So we all know, or we used to buy only products which have a trademark, and we always and you used to go behind trademarks. So what is trademark is that it is the one which is used to identify a service or a product, or we can say that a trademark is a design, sign or expression that is associated with the product, and a trademark which is used to identify a service is known as a service mark. Goods or services provided by an individual or a company, it can be easily identified with trademarks. So a trademark is typically a name, word, phrase, logo, symbol, design, image, or a combination of all these elements is called as trademarks. How do we know that it is a trademark product? So we have certain symbols for trademark. Under that we have three symbols called as TM, SM, R. TM, it stands for an unregistered trademark which is used to promote goods, which means that the trademark is not registered but it is used to promote goods. And SM, it stands for an unregistered service mark which is used to promote services. So SM stands for normally a service mark, and this is used to promote the services. And R, it is a one which stands for a registered trademark. So this trademark is registered, and so it is designated with R. So we can see many examples of trademark where we have Nestle, Facebook, Intel, Google, Pepsi, Microsoft. All these are some trademarks from which we can identify the particular service or the particular product. So how do in India we go for trademarking? So in India we have some laws for trademarking, and under trademarking we have, or the India government has enacted a law called as the Trademarks Act 1999. The main objective is that to register the trademarks and to provide protection of trademark for goods and services. So which means that when a particular good comes in a market, there should not be any counterfeit for it. So in order to prevent counterfeit also, the trademark has to be used. So it provides protection for trademark, and also it prevents counterfeit against the use of the trademark. And this Trademark Act is also amended in the year 2010. Okay, in India we have this Indian Trademark Act. What about the condition in international system? So internationally also a person can register his trademark. So for that we have a system called as international registration system for trademarks. So who governs this international registration system is that the World Intellectual Property Organization. So for international registration, you have to obtain filing application with the trademark office of that country, which means that if you want to register your trademark in some other country like Denmark, Finland, or Europe, or in some other Asian countries, you have to go and register your particular trademark with that particular country. Then you will be eligible, or when the trademark is if they have filed that, or if they have granted you that permission, then you can use your trademark in that particular country. To make this concept alive in many of the countries, the WIPO has come with an international treaty, and that is called as the International Treaty for Trademark Registration. And this treaty for trademark registration is called as the Madrid Protocol or the Madrid Agreement concerning the international registration of marks. So under this Madrid Agreement or this Madrid Protocol, many countries would have signed. So all the countries which have signed under this Madrid Protocol, they can go for registration using this international treaty. So with this, we come to the end of this trademarking. Next, we are going to see about the industrial design. So industrial design is also an intellectual property right. So what is an industrial design? So an industrial design, it refers to the ornamental or aesthetic aspects of an article. A design, it may consist of a two-dimensional structure which can be patterns, lines or color, or it can be a three-dimensional feature such as the shape or surface of an article. So industrial design can be for industrial products or for architectural structures or for handicrafts, technical instruments, textile designs, medical instruments, watches, jewelry, luxury items, electrical appliances, housewares. To be protected under most national laws, an industrial design must be new or original and non-functional. In order to protect the designs, so we have the act called as the Designs Act 2000. Next, coming to the international registration of industrial design. So if a design has to be registered at an international level, how it can be done? This can be done using a treaty or a Hague Agreement, that is called as the Hague Agreement concerning the international registration of industrial designs, which is the World Intellectual Property Organization Treaty. This treaty, it provides procedure for international registration of designs. Now, what should the applicant do to file an international application or to get out an international design registry? So first, the applicant should file their international application with the World Intellectual Property Organization or the national or regional office of a country party to the treaty. The design will be then protected in all the member countries of the particular agreement of the treaty. In this way, the industrial design can be protected. Next, coming to copyright. So far we have seen about the patenting, which normally involves the products or the trademarks, which involves the logo, design, color and other things. Copyright is totally a different one, or we can say that it is an idea or it is a literary work. So copyright, it can be defined as the intangible property right which is granted by the federal statute for an original work fixed in a tangible form of expression. So for what works the copyright is given? So copyright is given for literary works, which can include plays, poems and novels. Copyright is also for drawings. Copyright is for architecture. It is for photos, softwares, and any creative work, it comes under the copyrights. In what ways the copyright can be protected? So we'll see some examples for copyright. So copyright, it is for literary works. Literary works in sense all the books, poems and novels. And it is for performance. For example, if a particular group of people, they are performing some drama or some type of entertainment, so that particular performance, it can be copyrighted. The copyright is also applicable for sound recording. So the recording of the sounds can be copyrighted. And copyright can be for art, copyright can be done for music, copyright can be done for films also. Under the Copyright Act, so the Copyright Act is enabled on 1957 in India, and this act has been amended 6 times. The years include 1983, 1984, 1991, 1994, 1999 and 2012. The Copyright Amendment Act 2012 is the most significant one. The Copyright Amendment Act 2016 has also been enacted, and you have a term for the copyright. Copyright is normally for 60 years in India, which means that the particular film or the particular music, the particular performance, it can be copyrighted for 60 years. And for literary, artistic, musical and dramatical works, copyright, it starts from the year of the death of the author. And for performance and broadcast channels, they have rights for 25 years. Next, we are going to talk about the geographical indications. So what is a geographical indication? So normally we say a good which is specialized in a particular place. For example, we have some products which will especially maintain the name of the territory of the country. So geographical indication in relations to goods means that an indication of goods which can be agriculture, natural or manufactured goods as originating, produced, processed or prepared in the territory of country or a region or locality in that territory. The TRIPS defines geographical indication as indications which identify a good as originating in the territory of a member or a region or locality in that territory where a given quality, reputation or other characteristic of the good is essentially attributable to its geographical origin. It comes under the Article 22 of TRIPS. Under Article 22, the scope of protection is composed of 3 aspects. One is the protection against the use of indications that mislead the public or deceptive. The second one is the protection against the use of indications in a manner that are acts of unfair competition. And the third one is the refusal or invalidation of trademarks that contain or consist of indications where it may mislead the public. So Article 22A, it prohibits the use of indications, that is the words, phrases, images or symbols that will mislead or deceive the public about the goods geographical origin. And Article 22.2b prohibits any use of GI that constitutes an act of unfair competition as defined in Article 10b of the Paris Convention. The language of Article 10b indicates that in order to prohibit such acts as acts of unfair competition, it has to be established that their use is misleading or will create confusion to the public, and that damages result or there is a likelihood of damage resulting from such use of geographical indications. As per Article 22.3 of TRIPS, registration of geographical indications as trademarks shall be refused or invalidated at the request of an interested party if their use is likely to mislead the public as to the true place of origin. Most countries, including developing countries, they disallow the registration of geographical names as trademarks unless these have attained secondary meaning. Geographical indications in India. So, what about the role of India in geographical indications? So, in India, the Darjeeling tea, it became the first geographical indication tagged product in 2004 to 2005 year, and after that by May 2017 so far 295 products are added to the list, and in this list the only Indian dish which has got a geographical Indian status is that the Hyderabad Halim, which has got a GI status. And coming to the famed Uttarakhand Tejpata, a popular spice which is used extensively in the hilly cuisine, it was awarded a geographical indication certificate, making it the first product indigenous to the state to have made it to the GI list. The other products which are in geographical indications. In India, so far 297 products have been registered under the geographical indication registry, and under that some of the products I am going to list out are the Darjeeling tea, which is an agriculture type of product and it is from the West Bengal state, and we have Mysore silk, which is a handicraft type which is from the state of Karnataka, and we have Kanjipuram silk, which is also a handicraft type material which is from the state of Tamil Nadu. We have Nashik Valley wine, which is a manufactured one, it is from the state of Maharashtra. We have Bangnapalli mangoes, which comes under the type agriculture and it is from the state of Andhra Pradesh. And we have Mysore sandal soap, which is a manufactured one and that is from the state of Karnataka. And we have Madhubani paintings, which is a handicraft, it is from the state of Bihar. We have Malabar pepper, which is an agriculture type, that is from the state of Kerala. We have Balia wheat, which is an agriculture product, it comes from Gujarat. And we have Kashmir walnut wood carving, which is a type of handicraft, it is from Jammu and Kashmir. So, we have many products under this geographical indications. So, these products have got a GI tag which will help our country or the particular country to have a full authority over the product. Next, under intellectual property rights, we have the act called as Plant Variety Protection and Farmers' Rights Act. Under this act, breeders will have rights to protect the new variety of plant or crop either in person or through anyone he designates. The rights under this act include the right to produce, sell, market directly or export a variety. The breeder's rights have been strengthened to the extent if there is mere suspicion of violation or infringement, the onus of proving innocence is placed on the alleged violator. Further, the Act defines the farmer's rights in the terms of the farmer shall be deemed to be entitled to save, use, sow, resow, exchange, share or sell his farm produce including seed of a variety protected under this act in the same manner as he was entitled before the coming into force of this act, provided that the farmer shall not be entitled to sell the branded seed of a variety protected under this act. Under this act, plants are not patentable in India. However, the plants can be protected under the provisions of the Plant Variety Protection and Farmers' Right Act as mentioned. So, coming to the conclusion part of our topic intellectual property rights, students, we have seen how inventions can be patented and also the procedures for commercializing each type of products and processes. Through intellectual property right, The inventor or the creator, they deserve their credit, and also the products may enter into the commercial sector. The government also, through its statutory laws, it protects the inventions and creations of the inventors. So students, you can also invent and patent your products or process through the above said methods of intellectual property rights. And I just want to make you remember the quote of Thomas Alva Edison, which says that I have not failed, I have just found 10,000 ways that won't work. Just because something doesn't do what you planned it to do doesn't mean it's useless. So you do your research and you innovate.